After spiritual awakening, do you feel unmotivated to work? Like it's a total waste of time, and you just want to quit your job and spend more time alone. But then you are thinking like, I got bills and rent to pay, a family to take care of, responsibility. I just can't leave my job. You're not alone in this. I've been through this before. Even if you can't stand your job right now, walking away immediately isn't always an option. Maybe you still need to serve a resignation notice or deal with visa requirements. So, what can you do? There was this time when I went to Malaysia to become an animator. I rented a room through my company, and when I opened the door, oh man, it was like a scene straight out of the Hangover movie. Empty beers bottles everywhere, trash scattered all over, used tissue on the floor, drawers were yanked open and empty. It was a total mess, like a burglar had frantically searched through every corner looking for valuables. I turned to my roommate and said, "What happened here?" He told me that his ex colleague used to live in that room. Apparently, the guy drank a lot and then just ran away with his passport without even finishing his work contract. The reason I'm sharing this story with you is that you always have a choice. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not asking you to ditch your job right now and run away like a guy. That's not the point of this story. But I want to challenge this belief that many of us have, which is that I can't leave my job. Think about it. Is this true or not? Recently, I got a comment from someone saying something like, I want to quit my job, but I can't because of my visa. Trust me, you can. The person who stayed in the room before me just did it. What is your employer going to do if you just stop showing up for work? Again, I'm not advocating this, but this belief that I can't leave my job is merely a story that our mind creates to keep us stuck in the 3D matrix. Things like you can't pay the rent without a job, you have a visa to fulfill, otherwise you'll be forced to leave the country, or you need to serve a notice period, you can't leave your colleagues hanging, you need to help them. While these reasons may sound very valid, they are often just excuses that keep us trapped in the same cycle. Our mind is not able to think outside of the 3D matrix because since young, we have been conditioned to think within the 3D matrix. We have been conditioned to obey the system. Our parents will tell us that we can't live without a job, we need a stable income to survive. That's the game we are conditioned to play. When I wanted to quit my first job, I thought I can't leave my colleagues there. We're in the middle of a big project. Like if I leave, it will ruin the team morale. But guess what? My colleagues just moved on after I left. Humans naturally know how to adapt. Sure, it would be nice to have an extra pair of hands, but they didn't need me. They can figure it out by themselves. At the time, I also worried about how I would survive if I left without a job lying out. But guess what again? I found a part-time job within a week. Later, they made me full-time, and the work environment was so much better than the previous company. What actually happened was nothing like what I had imagined. The real reason we can't quit our job isn't because of our visa, our responsibility, or our rent. It's because we are stuck in the vibration of powerlessness. When you tell yourself, I'm miserable, I'm in this job that I hate, but I can't leave, I have no choice, you're operating at a really low level. That feeling of being stuck, of not being able to change your circumstances, is exactly what keeps you in the same place. Why? Because it shares the same frequency as the 3D matrix. You see, the 3D matrix is designed for compliance. People hand their power and freedom over to the system and follow whatever they are told to do or follow the conventional beliefs. Even though they may not be conscious of their own powerlessness, their vibration is of that frequency. When you feel like you can't quit your job, you share the same powerlessness as those who are running the rat race. You still think that the 3D matrix have power over you. You are still trying to comply with the rules that the 3D matrix has set, like visa requirements and resignation notice. You are still playing the 3D game. You're not playing the 5D game. And that's why when you feel powerless, the law of attraction mirrors that back to you. It keeps you in the same job, the same situation, because that's the energy you're putting out there. Feeling powerless, hating your job, or blaming the system only keep you stuck in the low vibration and keeps you stuck in the system longer. But if you are in a different vibration, one that is closer to your spiritual self, things can shift pretty quickly. Sometimes you don't even need to quit your job. The universe will handle it for you. I've seen it happen time and time again. In my previous company, people were just like let go off suddenly. In the morning, they got the news, and by lunch, they packed their stuff and they left. And they even got severance packages. Imagine that, getting paid to leave. How nice would that be? It can't be that easy. If you're stuck in a job that you can't leave, that's because you're not meant to leave the 3D system yet. There's still something important you need to learn before you leave. Maybe you need to learn how to make peace with your job first. You see, if you don't make peace with your current job, then you'll just carry the powerless energy into your next job or situation. Even when you leave your job, soon after, you might be telling yourself, I don't want to work, but I have no money. I need to find another job. It is still the same powerless energy. You're still carrying it wherever you go. The goal is to raise your vibration to a place where working in a 9 to 5 feels neutral to you. When working or not working feels okay either way, that's neutrality. You don't have to pretend that you are happy and excited about a job that you dislike, but you must at least learn to accept where you are right now. True freedom is when you are okay with either going back to a 9 to 5 or being self employed. Freedom isn't about escaping the 9 to 5, it's about finding peace no matter where you are. People who are in the vibration of freedom and empowerment, one that is connected to their spirit, they won't feel trapped by the system. They can return to a full-time job if the situation calls for it. Like if that's what their spirit wants, they will do it. There is a famous Zen Buddhist saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. It's never about the task, it's about the mindset and perspective we bring to it. And what determines your mindset and perspective? Your vibration. So the key to quitting your job is shifting out of the powerless state as much as you can. And how can you do that? First, you need to pay attention to how your mind frames the situation. Do you catch yourself saying, I want to quit, but I need to take care of my family, or I hate my job, but I can't leave? Every time you say but, you're stopping the flow of your desire. It's like wherever you have a desire, you also activate the powerlessness. I want to be free, then brah. I want to quit, but then there. You know how sickening that feels? Every time your energy rises out, it gets pushed back down again. So stop doing that. Instead, say something like, I want to quit, and I trust that the universe will bring me the right opportunity when I'm ready. Or I want to do something I'm passionate about, and I know that there are plenty of opportunities out there for me. Can you feel the difference in terms of the vibration and energy? One feels heavy and restricting, while the other feels open and hopeful. It's like tapping into a higher power and the abundance around you. I remember feeling really stuck and even depressed in my first job as an auditor. But once I made the decision to leave and fully committed to it, everything shifted. Suddenly, I went from feeling miserable to feeling relief and then excited. I would be sitting in the client's office looking through the invoices. But instead of thinking, why do I have to do this job? It's so meaningless. I started seeing possibilities. I was actually thinking, hey, I could work for this company or that one on the invoice. My whole perspective changed once my vibration changed and I started noticing opportunities. And a week after I quit, I got a part-time job. All I did was call out one of my clients' suppliers and I was hired. It was so easy when you are aligned with the abundant energy of the universe. That's the power of raising your vibration. When you shift your energy, ideas and opportunities just flow to you, and you will just know the next step. And don't underestimate the abundance of the universe. It got way more ideas and solutions than our limited mind could ever imagine. The truth is, you're not a powerless person your mind sometimes makes you out to be. You are that abundant creative being, and what you tell yourself really matters. So watch the stories you are repeating in your mind and where your energy is going. Your mindset and vibration will shape what shows up for you. It will determine your manifestation. Second, while you're still at a job, try to focus on things you actually like about it. Before I left my first job, even though I didn't really like it, I made a list of the things I like about it. I created two columns, one for the things that I didn't like about my job and one for what I liked about it. This actually helped me to figure out what I wanted more of and what I wanted less of in my next role. Balancing the likes and the dislikes also creates a sense of neutrality. And all we really have is the present moment, right? If you're constantly thinking about leaving your job while waiting for your visa or resignation notice to end, you're not living in the present, you're living in the future. And that can be very draining. Here in Singapore, going back to the army for reservist issues is mandatory. I didn't want to go back, but I decided not to fight against it. Instead, I chose to take one day at a time. There was another person who went back. He was like constantly complaining about the army and was frustrated all the time. And it actually made his experience even worse. The thing is, time will pass regardless. The situation you are in right now will end eventually. If you keep pushing against it, it will feel longer, like it's going to drag up forever. But if you stay grounded and just live in the now, it actually feels like it moves faster. Fighting against the situation doesn't help. You only have more resistance and it will just make you feel more stuck. What really helps is having something that pulls you forward. That's why figuring out what you like and dislike about your current job is so important. The things you like, that's the pull, that's the passion, the purpose, and the inspiration. And the things you dislike, that's the push. You are pushing against something. But you can actually also use this push, this resistance into and change it into a pull. For example, if you hate your job because it's too routine, you can flip it around. If you don't like routine, maybe you prefer something that gives you more freedom and independence. Knowing what you don't like actually helps you get clear on what you like. And spirituality isn't about running away from pain and discomfort. It's about making peace with it. When you can handle both the highs and the lows of life, when you have no resistance whether is it returning to a 9 to 5 job or pursuing your own path, you know what? You become invincible. You have the ability to adapt and find contentment in whatever situation you're in. Your vibration isn't dependent on the situation anymore. You're not reacting to the circumstances. You're setting your intention and vibration first, then interacting with the physical world. Now you're playing the 5D game. You're not playing the 3D game anymore. So what's something you can appreciate about current situation? You can say, the job gave me some financial stability while I prepare to take my next step. It gives me time to fine-tune my mindset and energy so that I can bring my best self to what I do next. It's teaching me how to navigate both the good and bad. It's helping me figure out what I value by showing me what I dislike. It solidified my commitment. You know, when I went back to my previous company a few more times after I left, every time I went back, it became clearer to me that 9 to 5 isn't what I want. Being self-employed is what I truly want. When you start focusing on the positive, your notice period or your visa requirement, whether is it 1 month or 3 or even 2 years, you will feel so much easier and faster than if you're stuck in low vibration. If you feel like you can't do anything after spiritual awakening, watch this next video.